If you're a New Yorker, you're practically a superhero. Let me explain. Today I'm going to be sharing 12 superpowers you acquire living in New York City. Make sure to watch till the end and tell me in the comments if I missed anything. Here we go. Let's get right into this. The first superpower you develop living in New York City is invisibility. No matter where you go in New York, most people won't even notice you. You know that nightmare you've had where you left the house and you forgot to put your pants on? Well, that actually happens here. Just last week I saw a guy in the subway wearing nothing but a fur coat, shorts, and drinking a Fanta. If your fashion is different, if wherever you live in the world you feel like you're judged, come to New York. I promise you most people won't even notice you. If there was ever a spot to be invisible, it's right here. Superhuman strength. Putting groceries in your car. Ha! Delivery service. Sure, if you're lazy. Okay, I may have been lazy just a few times in the past. But many New Yorkers live in a walk-up building, and who needs a gym membership when you're lugging Trader Joe's bags 3 or 4 flights up? Those biceps are gonna get a nice burn, and forget climbing mountains in the Himalayas. You live on a 6th-floor walk-up in Chelsea. You'll be surprised how your day-to-day shopping trips completely change when you live here. Superhuman strength? Sometimes it feels that way. Laser-focused BS detector. I can't tell you how many times somebody has approached me asking for bus fare, and it's always $3.40 to Poughkeepsie. They pick some exact number, and maybe I'd believe you if you hadn't told me that your beloved aunt died exactly the same way 1 week earlier, only this time you're going to Albany or Pittsburgh. Yes, this BS detector will actually help you detect petty scams in other cities as well. But it's more than just scams. I feel like if you're running in certain social circles, you'll be running into people who tell you that they're America's next top model, or they're the CEO of a company. Okay, sometimes they actually are the CEO of a company. But just saying, you're gonna hear a lot of tall tales of people who are living here, trying to brag, trying to talk about their accomplishments, and your BS detector is gonna get laser honed, trust me. Super speed walking. For New Yorkers, red and yellow lights are just suggestions. If there's no cars in sight and you're crossing a street, you're probably speed walking. If there are cars in sight, you're probably speed walking as well. I live very close to the subway, and I rarely find myself walking leisurely. There's always some kind of a rush. I don't know what it is about this city, but it just puts an extra bounce in your step. And pre-pandemic, I don't know what it's gonna look like in the future, Midtown Manhattan, it was like somebody hit a fast forward button. The pace of people's walking there was unbelievable. Which brings us to cat-like agility. If there's a sea of tourists in front of you, I don't know, taking their 100th selfie in front of the friend's apartment, you sidestep them so deftly you're just dust in the wind. Or better yet, you see umbrellas approaching down the street on a rainy day, you dart out of the way so fast they don't even have time to react. You're a New Yorker, you're quick, you're agile. Teleportation to other countries, that is. I encourage anybody living in New York or visiting New York to take the 7 train to Jackson Heights, Queens, get out of the station and walk the surrounding blocks, and then tell me if you don't feel like you're in India, Nepal, Mexico, Colombia. It's like having your passport stamped with a swipe of a Metro card. Or why not go to Brighton Beach and see the babushkas wearing their heavy jackets in summer and where Russian is spoken more widely than English? Or go over to Flushing, Queens and see the Chinese lettering on most of the storefronts and lead with your nose, or better yet, watch one of our many videos about New York City Chinatowns. But whatever you do, just realize that by living in New York, you have access to so many different countries. You can travel the world for just $2.75. Time travel, and you don't need to be speeding 88 miles an hour in an old DeLorean to accomplish this in the Big Apple. I don't know, head down to Stone Street in the financial district and you're gonna feel like you're back in the 19th century. Feeling a little medieval? Go see Belvedere Castle in Central Park. I could go on with these historical examples in New York City. Yeah, we're not Europe, but we're as good as it gets in the United States to really see lots of classical architecture and to feel like you're in a different time or a different place. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new and are into videos just like this one. Super hearing, but it's not what you're thinking. Although based on all the random times strangers have jumped into my conversations on the street, you'd feel like super hearing for eavesdropping was a thing, but no, this is different. This is super selective hearing. Particularly if you live in a busier part of the city, let's say lower or midtown Manhattan, you're gonna be hearing sirens, people shouting outside, construction, bro bars, that little yippy Pomeranian living one floor below. After time, it's just gonna blend into the environment to the point where you get used to it. And myself moving to Brooklyn, I was wondering where all that noise was outside my window at night. Dare I say I missed it a little bit. Super tongue. Now, I don't want to say you become a food snob when you live in New York City, although I am not going to say you don't become a food snob. With all the access to amazing foods from around the world, it is easy to get spoiled here. And if you leave the city and you go to another part of the country, having pizza and bagels may never be the same. In Main Street, USA, normally it's just Chinese food or Italian. In New York, you can get just about anything. I don't know, go to Queens, try some Bengali fushka. It's life-changing, trust me. Spiderweb. Everybody knows Spider-Man, but this is a little bit different. Your web is made up of people, of opportunities. That person you talk to on the subway, on the street for 20 minutes can be your next employer, your next best friend. This sort of thing happens in New York all the time. I have so many stories. I know a girl that was interested in working in film, and she randomly chatted up another girl on the subway, and guess what? That girl was a director, and a few months later, this girl was working in one of her movies. Heck, even my cameraman Ben recognized me on the subway, came up, introduced himself, and told me about his services. Guess what? We work together a lot now. And this is not an isolated incident. There is something about New York City where people are always willing to make contacts. It's contagious, and it's definitely something that's very true, and you've got to live here to see it. Undying loyalty. Okay, I don't know if this is a superpower, but it should be one. And New Yorkers love supporting their local businesses. You don't move to New York just to frequent Target, Kmart, Walmart. No, no, no. You want those local businesses to know you by name. Yes, I may have been guilty of going to the ill-fated IHOP in Greenwich Village just once, but it was only once. But truth be told, you want that person in the bodega to know your sandwich order when you walk in without even having to ask for it. And now with COVID-19 affecting the city, it is more important than ever, this superpower of undying loyalty to their local businesses. It is something that is truly New York and that I am very proud of. All right, before we get to our last superpower, watch till the end because I've got some really good honorable mentions as well. Invulnerability to elements, that is. Wind, snow, sleet, rain, ha! You can handle it. Even right now, without indoor dining, seeing people on the streets, 35 degrees, heat lamp optional. You move to Boca for the weather. It's not Phoenix. The elements don't faze you here because you're New York strong. And since we're out of time, a few honorable mentions. A bladder of steel because finding a public toilet that's not disgusting or open is very difficult. The ability to shrink in size because how else are you gonna fit into a 300 square foot apartment that's $2,000 a month, and just plain hulking out sometimes because there's a special place in hell reserved for people that don't wait for you to step off the subway before they step in first. And now it's your turn. Tell me in the comments if I missed any superpowers, and if you're a superhero, share this with your superhero friends. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really had a lot of fun making this. Until next time.